Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Couples Corner. How are we doing today? Hope we are doing well. I hope everybody can hear me fine. Let me see. Hope my volume okay, 100%. How are we doing this beautiful, beautiful Sunday evening? It's 5 p.m. Central, where I am, and 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I am excited to be here again. It's been a while. We had a little break, I think maybe like 2 weeks, but we are back. And I just want to welcome everyone on the platform. I hope I'm not having a delay. Can everybody hear me well? Please introduce yourself. Hello, our Eme Bright sister. How are you doing? Thanks for joining from Cameroon, motherland. Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. Hope you're doing well. I can see Bella. That's my aunt. What's it? What's it called, guys? What's up? 1 minute, 1 minute. Give me 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. I will be right back. All right. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I had a question from Hobby, so sorry. I had to answer. Yes, Bella Bell are watching from Wichita. Thank you all so much. I see 5 people watching, but I don't see their comment. Please, 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 I would like to welcome you on this platform. So introduce yourself. Let me know who is watching, okay? So I can thank you for that. So today we have another exciting episode as usual. I want to apologize again. I've been away for I think 2 weeks now, or I guess it should be like 2 or 3 weeks. Um so that's the reason. Last week, let me tell you guys, I don't know if some of you watched my Facebook. We had a concert here, fortunately, in Chicago. Nathaniel Bassi, Pastor Nathaniel Bassi was here. So that is the reason why I wasn't here last week. Okay. So I had to go worship God with this amazing anointed man of God. So we were there. I think I shared some highlights on my page for everybody to see and share the anointing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. All right. Of course, my husband will be joining us in a little bit. He's still getting ready. He will be joining us in a little bit for us to have this conversation. Just a little recap. We have been talking for the past few weeks about divorce. Okay. The scramble for divorce. Why is divorce so rampant these days? What are some of the causes of divorce? The last time before we went on that little break, we talked about finances as one of the causes. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about commitment. Commitment, that is lack of commitment as a reason or a cause. Actually, research shows that that is a leading cause of divorce. Okay. That's what statistics show, that is one of the leading causes of divorce: lack of commitment. So before we go ahead, question I just want to ask us here: what are some of the reasons, or not reasons, what are some of the signs that can indicate in a relationship that there is lack of commitment? Let me write it here. Okay. um What are some signs of lack of commitment? That's question for us in a relationship. Mm-mm. In marriage or in a relationship. That question is for everyone. Those are the signs. Then, and that's one question. Another question that we have that I have for us today that we're going to be answering is, what are some reasons for lack of commitment in marriage? So, share your thoughts on those two questions, please. Remember, this is a platform for discussion. We are not coming here to teach anything. We are coming here to share knowledge by the special grace of God, and we are coming also to get some knowledge from you guys. I always say that I don't know it all. We don't know it all. We are just, giving. We are just sharing what we think or what we believe that by the special grace of God can help relationships, can help, especially marriages, sharing the wisdom of God, the knowledge of God with all of us here. So we also believe that you guys can also share something with us that will help our own marriage and everyone that is watching on this platform. Okay, so that is why we are here, so we can share things that will help us build our relationships. Okay, before we continue, I would like to say that if you would like to have a session, counseling session, whatever thing, if you're going through any issues, a lot of people are going through issues, okay, in their marriages, please, you can reach out to me so we can have a discussion, okay? Um, all right, we're just gonna go ahead now. I've asked two questions on the platform. Please, if you have any idea on it, what is your opinion? One, what are some of the reasons for lack of commitment in marriage? Okay. We all know that lack of commitment is one of the leading causes of divorce. So the question is, why? The question is, what are some of the reasons why a couple, maybe the woman or the man can may not be committed? So what are some of the reasons for lack of commitment? Number one. And the second question is, what are some signs when you are with somebody, you are in a marriage, you're in a relationship, what are some of the signs that the person will exhibit, some of the characters or the habits that the person will exhibit to let you know that, hey, this man or this woman is not committed to this relationship? So those are the two questions. Please go ahead and answer if you have any response to those questions, and please share the link. Share as much as you can, so we can have this amazing discussion today. Okay, share the link as you come in. I'll just wait for a little bit so we can have a little more people. I think people are hopping in and out, so let's just give a couple of minutes. And like I said last time, if you feel like you want to come backstage and voice your own opinion, your own suggestion, your comments, you don't want to type, you are free to come backstage here. I will just post the link. You can click that, or you text on the page, and I will send the link to you privately to join us backstage. I really encourage us to do that, so we can have this awesome time in the presence of God, of course. Um share as you come in. Let me see also, if I can share as much as I can. Mm-mm-mm. All righty. Okay, 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 okay. All right. All right. I see that Daniel is around at the stream. Welcome, sir. You are so welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Please
Hello,
let us
hello,
know where
hello,
you are
hello.
watching from. Do you want to say something? What were you saying something?
Hey, good afternoon again. It's always nice to be on this platform and to share great things with the followers about marriage, how to live a life worthy of supporting one another. Um, Happy marriage life is what everyone makes. There's no definition for it. But as we keep talking about it every day, God gives guidance and direction on how to approach it. So, thank you again for being on the platform. Blissful for inviting me. Um, I'm going to give my own humble contribution as much as I can. I know we're already on the show. But once I'm given the opportunity to speak about it, I'll speak. Uh, I greet everyone again, and may God carry us through successfully.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, let's dive into it without wasting any more time. Um, we have been talking a lot these days about divorce. I think the past few weeks we've been talking about divorce. Before we went to the break, we talk about um, finances as one of the causes of the divorce. Okay, in the past we talked about commitment. We had talked about five core pillars of for healthy and successful marriage on this platform. And one of the core pillars that we talked about was commitment. Core pillar means that it's one of the things that holds marriage. One of the things that if you want to have a very, very good marriage, a successful marriage, you need to implement that in your marriage. And that was commitment. Okay. So commitment is one of the keys, very, very important. In every relationship in life, if you are not committed, you will not succeed in it. Even in our relationship with Christ, if we are not committed to God, we are not committed in our relationship with Christ, there is no way we can benefit the blessings of God. You cannot be hot today and you're cold. The Bible says it. You cannot be lukewarm. You cannot be hot today, tomorrow you're cold. God is going to spit you out of his mouth. So that is the same thing. Once you are committed in a relationship, you have to stay committed. If your one foot is out, another one is in, you are 50-50. Something is wrong. Okay. So, first of all, we have to understand that marriage is a relationship that is meant to be loving, is meant to be selfless and intimate. Those three things. Love has to exist. You have to be selfless, and there has to be intimacy between the man and the woman. Okay. Now, it is, I consider it, and I think that most people believe with me that it is, I would say, one of the one of the most sacred relationship that human beings can share, that two human beings can share. It is the most intimate, it is the most sacred that relationship that two human beings can share, apart from our relationship with God. I will say so. So it has both spiritual, physical, and emotional closeness. Okay, we have talked about spirituality in marriage. One of our series that we had was how important is spiritual. How does spiritual connection, spiritual connectivity, spiritual intimacy in marriage? We talked about physical intimacy and all those other ones, but there was a time here we talked about spiritual intimacy in marriage, which is very important. Okay, for those who have not watched that episode or that series, go and watch it. Spiritual intimacy is something different from our emotional sexual intimacy, and it's also a very important point, a very important aspect in marriage. You cannot be without that, because marriage first of all, was instituted by God. So we cannot do it without God. We cannot do perfect marriage without God. Okay. So it marriage comprises of spiritual, physical, and emotional closeness between those two individuals. Now, let's talk about we are still trying to establish that commitment, right? Let's talk about the love aspect. When I was talking about love one time on this platform between a man and a woman, we talked about Ephesians 5. Everything about how a man and a woman has to behave is in Ephesians 5. You can start reading from verse 21 right down. It tells you everything that you need to know. A woman is supposed to be submissive, and a man is supposed to love the wife as Christ loved the church. The woman is supposed to submit to the man as as she's been submitted to Christ. So that's how it is. You have to submit to the man, and the man also submit to Christ. So if you love God as a woman, you need to submit to your husband. Just like you honor God, just like you submit to Christ, that is the same way that you have to do that. And a man is supposed to love the woman. We read that. We are not going to go back into that. When it comes to intimacy, we all know that God made a woman from the ribs of a man. We read also that scripture here when we're talking about marriage. Where did it come from? The world did not start marriage here. It came from God, and He made a woman out of the ribs of a man. So if something is made out of something, imagine that you open up a flesh and take away one bone. We all know biology, right? Taking a rib out of somebody, you are taking something out of that person. So that thing was already part of that person. So that intimacy, what kind of intimacy can there be again? And then God says that when He was creating a woman, he has seen created everything, created Adam, everything, and Adam named everything. But now He said that there was nothing that was suitable for Adam. God saw it that way, that nothing was suitable for Adam. So He had to make a woman. And He did not just go and create a woman. He made that woman out of the man that He had already created. That is the first intimacy to start with. So the woman was taken out of the man. So the woman originally is part of the man, whether they like it or not. Okay. So when God did that, brought the woman to Adam, Adam said, well, this is the bone of my bones and the flesh of my flesh, establishing again the closeness. If you say that something is the bones of your bones, it's the same. Then God finishes by saying that for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother, cling to the wife, and they will become one flesh. One means that that is the highest form of intimacy. Normally, when we go to school, 1 + 1 is 2 now. But when it comes to marriage, that's the only mathematics that does not add up. 1 + 1 is 1. How? Because the two blend together. Because it is one, because that part of it was taken, that ribs was taken from one, from a whole. Let's take when we do math in school, right? If you take one, for example, and you separate it into four, it will give you what? A quarter. Take $1 and separate it into four. You have 4 quarters. Now, that $1 was like a man. Then God came and took a quarter. Then He said that this half man, this 75 quarter, that 75 quarter will leave their his parents. Then they will come and cling back to that 1 quarter that has taken out. I'm just trying to give an analogy here. So it means that for that man to be complete to one, something is missing in him. He needs that thing so that he can be one. So if you come and say that 1 + 1 is 2 in marriage, it means that you are probably taking another man that is whole to come and cling to another man. But no, that's not how it is. They are taking that thing that is missing, that God took out of him, to bring it back. That is the reason why that 1 + 1 has to be one, because it is that one is coming to complete that thing that was taken out. So that is the highest level of intimacy that can exist between humans. Apart from our relationship with God, we cannot take that for granted. When it comes to selflessness, okay, love, when it comes to marriage, the couples have to be selfless. If you are not selfless, you are selfish. And that is the reason why the Bible says that a man ought to love the woman, love his wife, that to the extent that he should lay down his life for the woman, just as Christ laid down his life for the church. And we had said here that the relationship between man and woman is the exact relationship, is supposed to be the exact relationship between Christ and the church. That is why God loves marriages, because he's using that as to show his love for mankind. That's why he's telling the woman. Christ is saying that you, the church, all you have to do for me is to submit. Submit to my commandments, obey my commands, worship me, honor me, reverence me, acknowledge me as your God, acknowledge me as Lord. And in turn, I pour my blessings, I pour my love upon you. Unconditional love. Christ came and died. He died for the church. He died for us. That is what he is saying. That I came and I died for you. All I need for you to do is submit to me under my authority, under my leadership. And that's what marriage is. The woman submits to the man, and the man is supposed to love. You cannot do that if you are if you are not selfless. There's no way you can do that. Okay, you cannot. So those are the things that I want to talk about this. And how do you put these three if you don't have commitment? These three things that I've said cannot work if you are not committed. So when there's that lack of commitment now, that's when we begin to see that all these things, this love does not mean anything. This intimacy, wait to be intimacy self. This selflessness, you become so selfish. Because what? Commitment, you don't work out. If these three, if commitment is there, these three things will be easy to follow. Once commitment is not there, everything starts to fall apart. Everything starts to fall apart. Okay, so those are the things that when we are talking about marriage, that is the lens that we should be looking at. That is the lens that we should be looking at: intimacy, love, selflessness. And we're talking about the love. We're talking about love of Christ here. How do we love when in a relation in marriage? Is different. It's a sacrificial love when it comes to this. Okay, so when we talk about commitment now, he has to take half all these three things. When he doesn't have all these three things now, we start having issues. I would like us to read First Corinthians uh 7, 1 to 5. Let me go to before we even go ahead. I posted a question for those who are even coming now. I posted some questions there. What do you think are some of the reasons why people will not commit to marriage? Why couples will not commit to their marriage? And secondly, what are some of the signs that can indicate that, hey, this person is not committed in this marriage? What do you think are some of those signs? Those are the two things that I want us just put your hola hola Azi. Thank you for coming, Azi. Ayanji, thank you so much. So ask but just reflect over that question and try to throw your own idea on the comment section, why you think that commitment can a man, a woman may not want to commit in a marriage, or and what are some of the signs that you think that indicate that somebody is not committing in a marriage. Let's let's do that while we go to this. Dr. Dine, did you get the
Get what?
First Corinthians?
Yes. Yeah, I do have it.
Can you read it?
Concerning married life, First Corinthians 7
One to
1 to
five.
5, it says, now for the matters you wrote about, it is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman. But since sexual immorality is occurring, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourself to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Amen. So this particular scripture I put it to emphasize on that those the aspect of marriage, of intimacy, love, and selflessness. We see that in this particular passage it has the aspect of intimacy, which is the sex part of it, and the selflessness, which comes to the aspect that says that do not deprive your wife or your husband. Okay, because you don't have authority over your body. It means that if you're a man, you don't have rights. You're not the one that have to dictate over your body, because another person has authority over your body. That is like you're wielding your authority to another person. That is being selfless. But if you are full of pride, selfishness, you will not even think about that. Okay, you will not think about that. So those are some of the things that some couples don't see it. They don't see it, but it is very important you understand that when you are in marriage, it is not about you. It is time that people start understanding that marriage is not about you that is married, getting married. Because people keep spending their time and saying that my husband is not doing this, my husband is not doing that, my wife is not doing this, my wife is not doing that. You are only hearing the complaint, my wife is not, my wife is not, he is not, she is not. Then you ask yourself, what are you doing? Maybe you're saying this one is not, he's not. You don't even know that you are also not. But you spend your time saying not, 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 not. Meanwhile, you are still there, not nothing. You are not nothing, but you are not seeing it. So that is to tell you that marriage is not about you, it is about the other person. If we can just think about trying to please the other part, trying to please the other person, then it might be easier. Imagine that you are married, right? While you are trying to think that, oh wow, what can I do to make my husband happy? You are thinking like, what can I do to make this man really happy? Then the man is sitting in his own place and what can I do to make this woman really happy? I really want to appreciate. Imagine both of you are having the same concept. So at every time, see, both of you are looking, are thinking about the good, the benefit of another person. Tell me how this marriage is not going to be sweet. Tell me how marriage is not going to be sweet if you guys spend your time trying to look out for the good for the other person. Marriage will be good. Marriage will be good. So I don't know if you have anything to say concerning this particular scripture that we have read in the aspect of love, intimacy, and selflessness. Tying it to commitment. You are muted, sir.
Okay. Sometimes we can understand people when they're muted. It depends. Okay. Yeah, we are here again to discuss a topic which is always which is central to marriage, commitment. And commitment is broad in the sense that it just depends on what you are engaging in marriage, and those things depends on how the couples all see themselves. So one thing I want to, why I'm saying this way is because um prior to you agreeing to each other that yes, I'm agreeing to see this face for the rest of my life, work with you for the rest of my life. There are certain things which we must have understood about each other, which are basic. You cannot understand everything before marriage, and those basic things are the things which couples should struggle to strengthen or take or use very powerfully in their marriage, and then also try to uplift the others in the areas where they are weak. And it at the end of the day, it brings a concept of who brings what, and then builds on the umbrella of commitment. Because the only issue I have with commitment being broad as a topic and everybody saying you must do this, it also depends on the fact that if it is not my strong point and I cannot do it, so how do we deal with it in marriage? you know, because yes, I am committed, but in other aspects. If you say, okay, you need me to do this, I can do this, but then maybe I cannot take care of the baby as the way you do it. Okay, I cannot feed the baby, but I can wash the baby, for example. Or I can be preparing food, but I cannot, or I can help you to prepare things for food, but I cannot prepare the food, right? And then you are like, okay, why can you not prepare me food? It means you are not also engaging in the things of marriage. So what I'm saying is there's a basic understanding which must be drawn at least on where each person is before we engage as we dealing with marriage. And once this is understood, it becomes easy for us to deal with what we cannot do, and therefore we support each other in that area. So because I cannot cook, so okay, you do what do you need? I can give it to you, I can prepare it for you, and so we all blend in this. But then not because I cannot cook, then we have a problem, right? So commitment is the concept of what I can bring in and I can do best. We use it best to the advantages in marriage, and so that our marriage lives on. Okay, so I'll come back to the topic now, and this topic was strictly on sexual relationships. And Paul here was referring to an issue because they were struggling with um, this issue of each person giving their all in terms of sexual intercourse. But because now people had overrated it, now they turn now to be promiscuity, right? There was the concept now of people not being true to their partners because now they are made it a priority. And that is exactly what I was saying, because if you decide in your marriage to say that this is a priority, and then you understand that in this priority, it's not my strength, guess what is going to happen? We're going to struggle. But it's not because I'm not committed, it's just because it's not my strength. Okay. So how do we complement this and how do we do this? And so Paul says, because you cannot, everybody stay true to your wife and your husband. And make sure, because the only way you can fight this is that for you guys not to be promiscuous, for you not to go out of the standards of what God has prescribed, the only way you can do it is just that be true to your husband and commit to that area. Because if you commit to that area, then if you commit to that area, then what is going to happen? Then you give in your best, and that's a commitment there. So make sure you do your best. And so commitment is what is doing your best in whatever area you are good in your marriage. Complement that part you cannot do by doing your best in the area where you are good at, and struggle to learn the others. And so once that happens, you always see that there will always be a movement. And once all of this, look at it in the big picture now of what? Of intimacy, love, and selflessness. So selflessness is already something which has been explained. Everybody comes down to what that means. It's just being not focusing on yourself. That is what it means. But what are the interests of the others? If somebody complains that you do this, you do this, you do this, okay, sit down and have a talk. Okay, you've said this, you've said this, you've said this. Okay, I don't do it the way you want. Okay, what would be your best approach so that you also find that I am helping you in this area? Because you must understand, that's what I'm saying. We must already understand that we have our issues. But then that selflessness is the fact that you are not neglecting that area because it's a concern. Let's talk about it. And then we talk about it, then we are like, okay, you cannot do this, but if you can do 80% or if you can do 60%, I think I will appreciate. Yeah. But if you say 100%, I cannot do 100%, it means we'll still struggle. Okay. So selflessness is just coming to that point where you say that, okay, let me at least put an effort and do this part that they need me to do. It's not, you don't just sit on the side and say, I cannot do it because it'll be an issue. The other things about intimacy. So intimacy is another strong word, right? Intimate is it is that level wherein I always say intimacy is what people see even beyond just the two of you. It's just what people see, is what people can see beyond the two of you. And what does that mean? It means that even what we do, two of us, what we engage in, what we the sacrifice we do should go beyond just the home, right? And if man can get to that level, then you find that your intimacy is something you don't struggle with, because then what you do in your house, you should not be ashamed of doing it outside. Because the danger with that word intimacy is the fact that it lives in the home, and once it lives in the home, the outside becomes, no, it's not for the public, it's not for people to, we can just live our lives, and therefore out there we are like, okay, nobody cares, okay. But the important thing, we come and fix it home. When we come home, everybody's true to one another. But when we are out there, we can do what we want. I was always telling Solange sometimes that I had gone to a place to do some work when I was back home, in Cameroon specifically. And in that place, I was surprised that marital couples, in their culture, it was a village. It was in their culture that established something they call Njumba Day. Now, Njumba, so those who understand what I mean here, is like having a lady outside, an official woman or a man outside. Okay, official. So something that even your wife knows that it is there, your husband knows that it is there, but we don't talk about it. So in the house, we leave. But now, on that day, when we wake up, everybody already knows that you don't need to ask me where I'm going to. You go to your own side, I go to my own side, we finish, and after that day, we'll come back to our normal marital life. Okay. And therefore, the intimacy is there in the home, but it's not reflected in the outside. But intimacy is very powerful when it can reflect in the outside, and that's when it's strong, because you turn to be accountable to each other, both in your home and both outside. And then it's now like, these people, there's nothing you can speak about some other person somewhere, or there's nothing somebody does not do without being conscious of the fact that, what does the wife say, or what would the husband say? And those things now are much stronger than even with the things you be in the home. Now it just settles. So intimacy to me, it's, yes, what with the sacrifices we make, but that sacrifice is more powerful when it is beyond the home, right? When it's beyond the home. And then it builds it easily. We're in a conference yesterday organized by our pastor, and a talk yesterday by our pastor, and one of the men in there, his brother, said something so powerful, right? He said something so powerful, and that, it just came to my mind, and then I escaped again. But he was talking about this commitment. I don't know why I lost it, but if he comes back again, I'll speak about it. But it's in the same direction of what we do. As okay, yes, this is what he said, that they had gone to his wife and complained about him. So somebody is out there just watching, just making sure that if there is the least loophole, how can I destroy this? How can I bring it down? You know? And immediately he thought he was going to use that as a gate pass. But immediately he got to his wife, the wife gave her a serious order and restriction. Never come again with a complaint concerning my husband. It's not your problem to take care of. It's mine. So wherever you see him, whatever he's doing, that is not your problem. So now she goes back and tells her husband, yeah, our wife does not love you because everything I told her about you, she did not believe. Why? Because his function is both in the home and both outside. And therefore, it closes gaps in two ways: outside and inside. And therefore, somebody seeing you outside already knows, no, this man, you cannot go and tell him anything. You cannot say anything to the wife. It's not like they don't have their problems, but they have already established that's those standards wherein they deal with it. They make sure they represent each other wherever they are, and life runs like that. So intimacy, I know people define it in different ways, but for me, that's what I'm saying. It's more powerful for me looking at it, how you represent each other outside. It's like you're an ambassador. Just remember, intimacy for me, I'll put it this way: you're an ambassador to your wife wherever you go. That's the same as a country sends you. When a country say you're an ambassador to a country, what does it mean? You represent this country wherever you are. So you never say, oh, that president did this. No. Whether he is doing wrong, that is my president. He's the guy who sent me here. We are working together. So we must work in either way. And then the last one was love. So love, I don't want to speak a lot about it. It's what we speak about every day. Is the basis of marriage. And there's no marriage without love. The first reason why people come together is the concept of love before they agree to make marriage. And I just want to conclude by saying this on this aspect. I know we're still talking to say that all the three things we've talked about, when we live from the standards of what we understand as men and go to the standard of the spirituality in it, and the spirituality in it is that everything that is an establishment of God's kingdom will always be an attack by the enemy. And that's why it goes from marriage. Okay, we don't this thing it's good we say it every day. There was one topic we said here. I said that the world uses marriage, but the world does not understand the foundation of it. It's just like, yeah, people come together, and that's why divorce is normal for them. But for Christians, it's always a challenge because we are going from a text, we are going from the textbook, and the textbook is Christ. The textbook is the word of God. The word became flesh. That was Christ. Okay. And therefore, the devil starts by attacking the fact that marriage should not happen. Once it happens, the next level, because he doesn't, they say he doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep. He keeps working. Once this happens, he says, okay, they've already gotten into one blessing. It means the next set of what God has spoken will flow. He gets into family, right? He starts. Next thing is family. Because once he starts attacking family, the next thing he knows that if he breaks that level, then the marriage level can also fall apart. Now, once your family is sustaining, okay, he knows that what you next need to attack. Because family is not just about a progeny, right? The family is about when you come together in marriage, you already establish a family because that's a promise of God. We come together, immediately we agree that we are married, God establishes the family. That's how the promises flow. So in the family now, what? Children have to start coming. So he attacks that one. Now you start struggling. So you see people are saying children, this, children, that. When children start flowing, what do? We attack the children. Okay? We attack the support of the children. We attack. So it's a continuous battle. And once you understand the line of this battle, as children, the pastor was saying today, also you have to stay on your game. Because everything you add, he also changes his tactic because he wants to see you go back to zero. Do you want to keep going up or do you want to go back? It's just what we need to think. So it's marriage, it's family, it's children. Okay, is there now all the blessings that accompany all of this? The promises for children, the promises of health, the promises of everything, job, because God will equip you in everything. When he gives you children, he knows you need a job. It's true, we go and pray about it. But he already knows that is a line of action he has established. Children, you need a job to sustain them. You need to go to school, you need to provide for food, all of that. The devil he knows that all these things have already been established. So he just starts fighting. So those fights, you should understand them in the spiritual sense. And while you're doing those fights, it must be based on these three things now that we are talking on. Like several things are in there, but on terms of what we are looking at, the topic commitment, love. Because what is he coming for? You put to keep fighting. Once you're fighting, what happens? Love is dying, right? The love starts dying. People are no more committed. There is no intimacy. Because right now, okay, you start seeing the errors of each other, isn't it? The nakedness of each other. Oh, you have done this. Oh, you have done that. Why did you do this like that yesterday? Why did you not do this like that yesterday? And then what? People now don't care. Selflessness goes. I do my own thing. You do your own. I don't. Why do you need me? No. I must not stoop to what you want me. If I cannot do it, I cannot do it. Forget about it. So all of those things coming because then the devil is winning. So there must be that aspect we understand what the world, how the world looks at it, those three things, and how God has established spiritually. Because then the spiritual concept of it is what runs your family life all through. Because you're believing in the promises of God. Okay, we can keep talking, but I'll stop at this point.
Okay. Oh my throat. Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, for that. Um, Somebody answered this question. What are some of the reasons or attitude that shows lack of commitment in marriage? And she said lack of understanding and communication for one another. Yes. So that's one of the things that I think Bella Bell said. Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, for touching those points with rating. Now, I just want us to talk about, we've been talking about divorce, right? Lack of commitment is the main is our topic for today. We've talked about how commitment is important and one of the three aspects when it comes to marriage that we commitment should center around, So now, talking about divorce, what are some of the key of the things, the attitudes, the things that show in a marriage that this person is not committed until it gets to that level that, hey, I'm done. Okay, I'm done with this thing. I'm done. There's no commitment in this marriage. First of all, the word commitment, like somebody said here, is big, right? But even though commitment is big, we understand what it means by commitment. I want to believe that commitment is a simple word. Simple. If you have a job, we all know in America, if you are not committed to your job, if you say your job has to start at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. or 7 a.m., if you consistently go to work at 7:15, and if they have a grace period that you can come 5 minutes late and you will not be considered late. If you consistently go to work at 7:15, 7:30, you are going every day late to work. The next thing that will happen is that they'll come and give you a warning. For those who have worked, especially and I want to believe in it's in every career, but I'm talking from the aspect of medical field, right? They'll come and give you a warning. After that warning, they'll give you probably sometimes depending on the policy of the company, they'll give you 2 or 3. The third one is a fire letter. They will fire you, meaning that they will depart. In other words, they'll divorce. They'll separate you from the company, so you will lose your job. So most of us here, we don't go late to work. In the military, their own is even bad. Once you do something, it looks like they don't even have second chances or third chances. There are certain things that when you do, you are gone. So before you are joining it, you know the commitment, that you know what you are getting into, and you have signed that you will commit to those things. In other words, you adhere to the rules and regulations of that particular thing that you want to do, that particular job. Now, marriage is the same thing. Before anybody gets into marriage, we already know that there are certain things that you will not have your way. If, for example, you were that type of person that you will stay without cooking for days, for weeks, you go and buy a McDonald's. When you are getting married, you know that you are not alone anymore. If you are the kind of person that you were keeping late night every day, coming 2 a.m., you know that you cannot do that possibly. You cannot just go out anyhow without asking permission for another person. Somebody is with you. You have to respect that person. If you are the kind of person that you were just doing anyhow, flirting, sleeping with women, sleeping with men anyhow, you know that you are getting into marriage. We all know that there are some specific things. Let's not pretend here. Everybody getting into marriage, even in your relationship. Why do people cry that my boyfriend has cheated on me? Why do people cry or are offended that my girlfriend cheated on me? Because they know that they're supposed to be, for them, it's a commitment thing. But when we get in marriage, we want to pretend as if we don't know. Now, some of the things that show that there is no commitment in marriage that can lead to divorce. The first thing is infidelity. That is the first thing. When you get married, we have already read those scriptures. We are not going to go back there again. We already read that's why I started by giving those three things: love, intimacy, selflessness. Now, if you get married and you spend your time cheating on your husband, you spend your time cheating on your wife, not one time, not two times, not three times. They keep forgiving. The Bible says we should forgive. Yes. But they keep forgiving you. They keep forgiving you. They keep forgiving you. They keep forgiving you. At one point, somebody gets tired. At one point, somebody gets tired because you are taking
I believe we lost the host. I don't know how, but that is the power of technology. And as we appreciate and celebrate technology, let's just hope she gets back on here, because she was making some very critical points on commitment, on what we all bring as part of the pie. Okay.
I'm sorry, for some reason my internet got interrupted. Okay. I guess the devil is angry about this topic. All right. So I was saying that when it comes to faithfulness, infidelity, that is one of the highest ways that somebody, as a partner, your partner, can show lack of commitment. Because even the Bible says that you should make sure that the marriage bed is not defiled. Excuse me. You should make sure your marriage bed is not defiled. So you should not commit adultery. The physical act today, when I was reading about adultery, the difference between infidelity and adultery, I did not even know that there was a difference between infidelity and adultery. Infidelity is any other form of cheating, is any other form of not being truth, not staying truthful in terms of intimacy with your spouse. So the adultery is the physical act of indulging in that sexual act. But infidelity will be other, probably other means like sexting. We all know about that. It will be another means about like emotional cheating or some other forms of flirting around with people. Okay, that aspect of infidelity. And the bad thing, the thing that is so, I don't know if I should even say bad or something, is the way society has taken it as if it's a normal thing. Until when you even say, I'm tired of this man, or this divorce, this marriage thing is done because I cannot stay with this person. He keeps cheating and forgiving and forgiving. I'm tired. They will even ask the person, so now only for cheating, wait one divorce your man. So it has become a norm. As he say, master, that they say, master, that man picking must get a woman for outside. Why are we making it a norm? Then when somebody divorces, they start talking. So infidelity, adultery is the number one that people divorce. A lot of people are persevering, yes, but there are some people, especially in this in the Western culture, they don't just take that thing of infidelity lightly. They don't. So that is the highest level that you show that there is lack of commitment. Because if you are committed to me, then you will not do that. You will understand that commits that our relationship is something that I am for you and you are for me. You cannot go and do that. The second aspect is that you are not even, if you are doing that, that even covers everything. Because once you start, let's say you're doing that, the next thing is that you don't even care about my feelings. Because if I have forgiven you once, you come back and do it again. I forgive you, I keep forgiving you, it means that you don't even care about how I feel. I feel. You don't care about my well-being. But commitment, that's one of the things that commitment will do. If you are committed to somebody, you are committed to a relationship, you will care about another person's feeling. How are they feeling about this thing? If you're in that person's shoes, how would you feel? You care about them, you care about their worries, you care about their feelings, you care about their well-being. Another thing about commitment is lack of commitment that will show is that somebody is not committed to their relationship is they don't even take care of their families. They don't care what happens to their families. They are just anyhow. Some people don't even care, don't even know which school their kids are going, what are their reports, whether they're doing well in school or they're not doing well in school. It encompasses of some of those little things that we are taking for granted. Okay. One of my sisters yesterday, she said, the lack of communication and lack of understanding. There is no understanding. There is poor communication. All those things show that you are not committed to what you are doing. Because if you are committed to what you are doing, you know exactly what is going on at any time T. You will do your best to make sure that that thing works. The reason why some people stay in a company for 10, 20, 15 years is because they are committed to their job and they make sure that they do their job diligently, without mistakes or little or minimal mistakes. Some people have worked in companies for 15 years. They have never had a write-up. Write-up means that they have never had anything that the administration had to send them a warning letter or a letter for them to readjust. That is how good they are. That's how serious they take their jobs. If we could only emulate that seriousness that we take for our jobs, that is because we know that if we do not go to our jobs, we will not have money to pay our house rents. We will not have money to pay our bills. We will not have money to eat. But now, if we understand, if we could take this same concept, I don't even want to go to, I don't even want to go into the spirituality. Let's just stay in the physical level. If we take that just 1/4 of the way we commit in other things, in these jobs, and just translate it into marriage, and understand that, hey, if I'm committed, if I take it as important as my job, I don't want to make a mistake because I know that this person will be hurt. I know that if I do this, my marriage will be hurt. My kids are involved. My husband is involved. My family is involved in this thing. My life is involved in this thing. Then we will have a different ideology. Some of those marriages will be saved. But why are these things, why is divorce so easy now? We are not committed. So for the least thing that happens, we look for the escape route. Because some of us, first of all, get married with ulterior motives. We are just saying, oh, anyway, let me go, just come and try. I just wait for this opportunity for vamos. When the commitment is not there, you don't fight for it. That's the reason why in the first place, you will not even care. That's the reason in the first place, you can be unfaithful as anything because you don't care. So those are the things that those are some of the things that I personally, I think that show lack of commitment in a relationship. There is adultery, that's infidelity. The person doesn't care about, he's not responsible for their family. You don't care, you don't provide for the family, you don't provide for the well-being, you don't see that the family should move, you are not even interested in making the family to grow anyhow. You just sit there anyhow, it happened. I don't care. You don't know what is happening with the children. You don't know nothing is of interest to you. You are not committed. You are minding your business, like you are staying in the house, but you are in your own different world. So that is the way I see people that will not show commitment in their mind. That's the sign. Those are the signs that I personally see that if those things are in marriage, it means that there's no commitment. That's how I see it. And of course, there are some reasons why some people will not commit. Because you can get somebody may decide to say, I will fight for this marriage, But now when the other person keeps doing things, doing stuff, now you too, you get tired. You're like, you know what? Why am I even killing myself when somebody is not even trying? And when the other person gets to that point, when both of you are already at that level that nobody wants to fight for the marriage, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to break. It's going to break. So that's how I see it. I don't know what you guys see, how you guys see it. Somebody has put their own there, that lack of understanding and communication, which is one powerful thing to add to what I've had. If you have any other thing that you want to add there, please just text, post your comment. Dr. Daniel, I don't know if you have anything to add on this one, but that's what I think about personally about these points.
Blissful, 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 blissful. Uh, yes, I know you went back, pick it back on one of my points, um, and the approach you brought was still very okay, and I understand that. Yeah, you're trying to make it clear cut, but the reason I spoke on broad terms was simply because unless we are not men, right? We cannot justify our inability to do something because we are a man, or you are human. That is what I was trying to say. You made you referred to the fact that if somebody who was sleeping around comes into marriage, he knows that he has to stop. It's just like telling somebody who was smoking 10 packs of cigarette in a day that immediately we are married, you have to stop today. But you understood that he was smoking 10 packs a day before you were getting into marriage. And that was something you should have dealt with, understanding that if we are going into this, it has to stop in a day. What I was just trying to mention is that they're not switch ons and switch offs because of the fact of a human. That's where the spirituality remains strong, because then you have to also make sure that those battles are fought in the spirit and not in the flesh. If you really love the person which you want to get married to, but then those are topics you have to discuss. Okay, I know this is what you did before. You had this one, you had this one. This is how you handled it. But now I know we are going into this, and I want us to, put some effort to make sure that um, I'm not happy with. If you do this, I will not be happy. If I do this, I will not be happy. Okay, and then so what would you need from me? Because it's the same thing. You're talking about sexual immorality, for example. The same text we read. Why were they going out? If we want to follow that text, the people were promiscuous simply because that commitment in a husband and a wife was not there. Okay. And therefore, Paul says no, because now that it's getting to that way, every man will be committed to your wife and every wife to your husband. And remember that according to the standards that God you're worshiping, those were people in church, eh? They were in church. It was not people who were out. They were in church. He says that remember that God you're worshiping, you're following a word, a standard. And the standard says that you have to respect your husband and your wife. Okay. And therefore he's bringing them back. But he didn't say that because people have gone around, start issuing divorces. Please, anyone that has failed, just let them divorce, divorce. Because Paul is coming from a point, okay? And good, you said that some may tolerate, at some point get tired of fighting. But you mentioned jobs in America, and I want to say one thing about jobs in America. Anybody who has worked in this system understands that this system has what they call a an internal check-in system. They have a word they use. We review the program. Okay. After a quarterly or every 6 months, we review the program. We see where it's working and where it's not working. Christians, because they pray, they don't review the program. Those one that's the Christian life. They don't review the program. They see something going, it keeps going, it keeps going. No, let me stay in my corner and pray. They just be praying, just be praying. But now somebody said communication. You people don't talk about it, right? It's like, okay, she should just be praying, should be praying. I'll also do my own, and then we'll see how we go. But that does not answer the problem. Marriage is the same. If you're using work, we have to use the same approach. Quarterly, if you put one, even monthly, that's marriage. Review the program. When you go to your bed at night, in short, couples, you can even review it every night. When you go to your bed at night, okay, the way you approach this thing today, I think it wasn't nice. You would have done it like this. Okay, the way you did it today was not nice. You would have done it like this. Okay, why did you do this and why did you do that? You discuss it. See how you can continue tomorrow. It has a review. Okay, the children brought this thing from school. They kept it. You didn't look at it. Why didn't you look at it? Okay, you said you were going to do this. You didn't do it. What was your challenge? Okay, since you cannot do it, where do you think I can step in? That is working together. But then it's not because the person is not committed. Okay, there may just be a reason why they don't stop. So all the things I'm saying is sometimes it's not clear cut. It's a way of two people understanding their challenges and moving together. To me, I don't know. Yes, blissful, you are blunt on it. That's true. As I also think from the angle of a woman is right. Okay, because the expectation is always in marriage is always at 100%. But if it were me, I'll put my expectations. Don't quote me on this platform. I'm only a guest speaker. Guest speaker. Don't quote me. I'll put my expectations. I'll start at 60, 70, and then we'll build it up to 100. And if we build it up to 100, we'll be stronger than ever before. But if I put it at 100, the day I'll come back to start from 70, guess what is going to happen? That 30 is going to mess me up the more. And therefore, these are two people who came in, two different backgrounds, two different homes, two different issues, two different family bloodlines. We are coming to understand ourselves in a home. That is where we have to build commitment. It's not because when we say it, somebody cannot bring 100% commitment. I don't know what other person you're supposed to say about it. Somebody should speak. You cannot bring 100% commitment, man. You have to build it. If you build your commitment to 100%, your marriage will, in short, even a rock cannot break it. But if you expect 100%, and then someday you change your mind, say, no, let's go and start from 70. That 30% that you are going back to go and start from, that you are leaving to go and start, you would have said better I should have not even talked about this 30%. I would have just left at 100 and just managed. So to me, I don't know. So, but others can speak. I don't know what other people think. Other people should speak. It's blissful here. She said her internet again is gone. Yeah, I think we can equally text, but so still speaking on that aspect. Commitment is it's a composition of so many things, right? It's a composition of so many things, and this composition is several areas which we are thinking that we can all contribute, and that's why I'm saying, what is your contribution to your home? Every man and a woman, you have to sit and think. When you sit in your house every day, you are like, okay, they have put a flower on this jar. Maybe it's my husband put a flower in this jar and placed it maybe on this table. What if I put the table, what do you call it? The table mat. If we put a table mat, this color, so that it can match the jar, what would it look like? That's how we do it. You could not do the jar, but you can do the mat. We are matching it. Therefore, now our home is beautiful because you brought one part and I brought one part, right? But I could not do the mat. It doesn't mean because I could not do the mat now it's a problem. And that's what I'm saying. So the commitment must be looked at. Okay, blissful is back. The commitment to me is the aspect of us all bringing our own parts to make it work. Not 100%, but building it to 100% is the power. Okay, blissful. Over to you.
Yeah, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure why my
My laptop is messing up today. I'm not sure why. So I had to use my phone. I've been trying to get in. It's not letting me. Um, yeah, yes, I think I got partially what you said about commitment. Let me just clarify here that I did not say that commitment is 100 from the beginning. The example, the things I was talking about commitment, about that infidelity, not taking care of your family, and all those things is with time. There are people that have stayed in my, by the way, before you got married, you people were in some form of relationship where you already agreed that you knew what you were getting into. So we are not expecting that you get into by the way, I don't care whether you make 100 years in marriage. Marriage is not perfect. People should understand that. We already know that. We have established that on this platform, that no one can have 100% perfect marriage. And that is because in some time we are all humans. The only person that can give in 100% is God. The fact that we are humans, our human parts will come in here and there. But the problem is that if we do not raise the standards, we have the opportunity, we have the option, we have choice, we have the possibility of making our choices. You get married today, you are seeing how things are happening. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Some people even start cheating in their marriage late, like 5 years later, 6 years later, 10 years later. Some people start from the beginning. I was just talking about generally about the fact that once you have gotten into marriage, we are not expecting that things will be 100% and it can never reach 100%. But the thing is, what are you doing? What are the things that you are doing to make sure that even if you are not reaching that 100%, you are doing your best? That's why I took the example, like, you cheat today, we forgive you. Tomorrow, we forgive you. The next day, we forgive you. You did something 1 year, you have been forgiven. After 2 years, you repeat the same thing. Maybe you've been doing the same thing behind, I did not know. The person did not know. 10 years down the line, you're doing the same thing. They keep forgiving you. What is the commitment in it? It means that there is something that is lacking. Commitment is lacking. That is why people get fed up with stuffs. People get fed up with things and they say, you know what, I'm done. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you start marriage and you finish. Marriage can never be 100%, whether you make how many years. But we have to understand that it is a work in progress. You have to put just little efforts. If today you could not make this one, we sit down just like you talk, just like you said, we talk about it. How can we make this better? We discuss about it. Some people, some marriages, every day, every year or every 3 months, they're having discussion table. Let's sit down, discuss. Or this one happened, this happened. And the discussion is on the same thing. If the discussion becomes on the same issue all the time, there is problem. That problem needs to be fixed. That's just what I'm saying. So commitment is not about whether it is you got married today or you got married tomorrow or you got married or the marriage shall make 20 years or 30 years. No, it's the little things that you do to make it better. Because as humans, we will all make mistakes. We will all make mistakes. That is why when you make the mistake, what is the important thing? The important thing now is that what are you doing? How do you go about it? How do you move from there? Do you even acknowledge that what you have done is not right? Do you acknowledge it and say that, hey, I want to be better. I need your help. I want to commit. Help me to commit. But some people take it all with pride. And where there is pride, correction cannot happen. There is no correction. Correction cannot happen if somebody is full of pride. So those are the things that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, oh, it's okay for you to just, no. Let's understand that that's just what I was talking about. Okay. So like I said, my internet is giving me a lot of headache today. For some reason, I'm not sure why. So I don't know. Let me go back to this chat and see whether there's anybody that I'll see if I can join again because for my laptop, that's the only place that where I can. I mean,
I'm muted.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
Am I echoing?
Yes, you are.
So, but why? All right. I was trying to get into on my laptop to see if I can get some comments about this, but it keeps echoing. Okay. So Dr. Daniel, I don't know if you have any last remarks about this point we're talking about, signs that shows that you're not committed to your marriage, and also what are some of the reasons that somebody may not commit. I know I touched one aspect that somebody may just be fed up and say that, you know what, I'm done. I've tried my best, I don't want no more commitment in this thing. Okay, I've tried my best, but you keep doing this, I'm done. So I think that those are the few things that I had to talk about commitment today. The reason why people don't commit in their relationship, some of the attitudes why some people divorce. We are complaining that divorce rate is too much, but sometimes we don't know why people are divorcing. Some of those little things make people to just get up one day and are fed up. But again, the broad picture here is that the lesson to take home today is that once there is no commitment in marriage, there's bound to be divorce, because it takes two to tango. If one person commits 100% and the other person does not commit, or if one person commits 50%, the other person does not even have even the 50%, there will be problem. So there has to be some balance somewhere. The bottom line is that people have to understand each other. People have to understand that this is a relationship. Are we building it together? Are we on the same boat together? We may be probably on the same boat, but maybe we have different destinations. People can be riding in the same bus, but are not coming out at the same exit. So maybe we are in this thing together, but we don't have the same vision. So that's you have to understand whether you are committed and your spouse is committed. Because if there is no commitment, that is the bottom line. When people are not committed in their relationship, in their marriage, there will be divorce. And we have given here some me particularly, I have said that some of the things that I feel that shows that there is no commitment are some of these things. Other relationships are different. You may have it in a different way. Your own commitment idea may be something else. Now it's based on your relationship. And those things, our advice here is that when you see those things, don't let those things to chop you. Have a conversation, just like Dr. Daniel has said. Come back to the drawing board. Hey, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. How do we move about it? I did not like this thing. Let's talk about it. Because if we leave those things and we are grumbling inside, it's like something that keeps eating you inside. There's this thing we call in pidgin tumbu, maggots. They will start eating you. Maggots, they start eating from the inside. They start eating fruits from the inside. Before you can see the fruit is shining outside. But when you cut it inside, it's rotten. So if you leave that maggot to keep eating you from the inside, before you know it, it will eat, and then explode. And by that time, the whole thing is rubbish. You cannot do anything with it again. So what we are saying here today is that take home number one, lack of commitment is one of the key things that will create divorce, that will cause divorce in your home. So watch out for the signs that show that there's commitment is missing somewhere. And if you feel like commitment is missing somewhere, have a conversation with the person. We don't want you to keep it. It should get to the level that you cannot handle it anymore. Talk about it. If you need to get somebody, we said here that if you need to get somebody to talk about your issue, sometimes you cannot even communicate, you cannot verbalize it. God is the first person you have to go to. Ask God how you have to navigate that issue. Then look for a mentor and pose this problem and say, this is my issue going on. How do I go about this? After you have spoken with your partner about it and nothing is happening, start looking for those avenue of mentors. When you see it, go to God, ask for direction. When God gives you the direction, approach the man or the woman, whoever is the person that you're thinking that is showing some signs. Talk about it. If it's not changing, get a mentor. I've said here that everybody should have a mentor. If you are married, have a mentor that will mentor you. Sometimes it's your pastor. Sometimes it may not be your pastor, it may be me, another couple. But please let it be somebody that is married. Because you cannot go get somebody that is divorced to come and mentor marriage. You cannot go get somebody that is single to come and talk to you about marriage. They should come and tell you what that they don't know. So you have to be careful with what you're saying. We don't want the idea here is that we don't want to end up in divorce. We want to be sure that we help to bring down the rate of divorce and not to expand it. So we have to do our best by God's grace to make sure that we catch these things, these little things, while they are still very at the early stages, and see how we can fix them together. Two of you must fix it. One person cannot fix it. That's the way I agree. I understand it. And the Bible says it. Unless two agree, they cannot work together. So if both of you don't agree, you cannot work together. That is my take home for you guys today. Does Daniel have anything?
Okay, yeah. So it's clear. I think you've made your points right. There's a common that was a song back home. They say a problem between a man and a woman, leave them alone. For them to handle their matter. Because the reason I'm saying this is, what was your why when you jumped into marriage? What was the why? Because that is the why is always the basis. It's always your foundation to to find a reason to fight. Okay, and if your why was so much to your own interest and not to both of you, then the fight in any direction will be very strong. Okay, and that's why I say there are certain things which needs to just be handled, because you want commitment. Nobody wants to get into a marriage without commitment. You just want that. And I also say commitment is accountability, if you can put it that way. Just be accountable, right? I did my part, and you should also do your part. And so your why should always give you a source, give you a reason to always fight both. Now let me say this. We're talking about this yesterday in the car when we're driving. We get to some point in our spiritual lives where we think that prayer is just enough. We don't care. But there are times when you're dealing with something, you need to also face it both in the physical and the spiritual. And those two ends matter for how you pray. Because you cannot be praying, just like the pastor was saying today, what are your specifics? Okay, if my husband is gone wayward, boom, I'll go and start praying. What are you praying about? You cannot have a discussion. People cannot talk about it. You don't understand the root cause. But every day you're in your closet, you're praying, and God is looking at you. Okay, what do you want me to do? I know the problem. I can fix it. But if I fix it, you still don't know the problem, you. So how are you going to handle it? So the spirituality, sometimes it's okay, it's good, it's fine. But you should know what you're taking to that God, because once you're taking it, He addresses it squarely as you have asked. When you come and say, "Oh, my husband has gone. Oh, now he's doing this. Now he's doing this," and God is asking you, "What is the issue?" That's what He wants to know. I remember my dad, may he so rest in peace. Which time I went to him, sometimes I'll go when I'm going to ask for one thing, and he may be money to buy a book. But I go and start telling him, okay, the other day the teacher came to class, then the teacher said this. He sits quiet, and then when you're done, he says, "What do you want from me?" I've heard all your story. Other thing you said, I've understood it. But what do you want from me? So, um, as we stay in our areas of commitment, as we continue to seek the love, the blessings of our marriage, remember that as two people do it, the important thing is always review. I'll encourage that point, review your marriage. If you review it, like she has said, it comes up multiple times, it is your place to take it to the place of prayer because it means you cannot fix it. It means the person himself cannot fix it. They cannot handle themselves in that area. Ask for an external support. The external support is that, Father, I cannot do it. We cannot do it. Help us. Okay. Thank you for tonight and thank you for having me. See you again some other time. Okay. Backstage.
Oh my God, I don't know what the heck is happening today. Oh boy. Whatever is happening today is really happening. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry about that. So, like I said, please, marriage is something that we have to take it serious. Commitment is something very serious. Take your marriage serious. Be committed. See what is not going right and have a conversation. You don't want to end up into the lot of so many people that are going through divorce. Okay. That is not what we want. So that's why we are saying that here. Take home today is number one, understand that lack of commitment is one of the key things that will lead to divorce. Number two, look out. Number two, make sure that you do your part to commit to your marriage. And if you see that you are not committed or you're lacking anywhere, ask God to help you in those areas that you are weak at to be able to commit more. And if you see your partner not committing in some of those things that we have seen, that we have shared here today, they are not responsible. They don't take care of the family. They don't even care about your feelings. They don't communicate. They don't care how you feel, how the children are doing. They are not faithful. Infidelity. Look at those things. Make sure you have a conversation with them. And if it's something that it keeps reoccurring, go to God with it and have a mentor to guide you people, to help you people. And again, very important, let your mentor be somebody that is really an example of what you are looking for. Don't get a mentor that is a divorcee. Don't get a mentor that is single. I know that there are so many people on the social media platform. They are relationship coach, marriage coaches, but they are divorced. Some of them are single. And I don't know what you want to go and get from somebody who is single or somebody who is divorced to advise you to stay in marriage. Of course, if they could have that advice on themselves, they would have been in that marriage, right? So let us know the kind of mentors that we are looking for in certain things. Okay, so those are the take homes today. I hope that you guys were blessed today. Thank you all so much for joining the platform. It's been an amazing time. I will see you all tomorrow, and I'm so sorry for all the technical difficulties today. I'm not sure what was going on today with my computer. It's particularly my computer because I'm not sure Daniel's own was fine. The one on my phone was okay. It was just this 1 year. So I really, really apologize for that. And let me see. I'll see you all next time. Have a blessed day. You can hear how the thing is still echoing. So I'm not sure why, but may God bless you all. Thank you. Until next time.